Hello, this is Momo Miyaguchi for the Be Here in the Now segment for Spotlight on Brittany. It's the month of August and we're halfway through summer almost. Just in case you're listening to this at another moment or from another place in the world, we've had a very hot summer. So I hope you've been finding ways to keep cool in the middle of this all. One of the things that I do is put a little wet cloth behind my neck. In Japan they often do that, an oshibori, a little cloth that's been wrung out behind your neck. It has a very cooling effect. So at the moment I'm preparing a workshop of Japanese songs. It's got me thinking about Japan, where I spent the first 5 years of my life. So for example, in Japan, summers are very hot and humid, and it's a period of the year where people are showing horror films. Now you might find that a little bit strange, but well, when you're watching a horror film, you might get the heebie-jeebies or goosebumps or the shivers, especially kind of ghost movies or suspense movies. Anyway, I'm really terrible with these films, like zombie films. They're, one of my worst nightmares, basically. So if you ever get me to watch a scary film, it's quite amusing because I will actually jump up and leave the room or make all sorts of sounds. So I'm very entertaining if you want to put on a scary film. And what is interesting is around the 7th or 8th of August, actually with the old calendar in Japan, it's actually the beginning of autumn. So even if it doesn't feel like it at all, the days are really hot, humid. However, if we think about it, well, we're halfway between the solstice and the equinox, and so the days are getting slightly shorter and the light is changing. So it's not that far off. And still on the subject of Japan, in the middle of August, around the 13th of August, depending on the year, people celebrate Obon. Obon is kind of similar to the All Saints period or Halloween. It's basically when people welcome in the spirits of the deceased. Now this is kind of, it's actually not scary. It's kind of like a reuniting of members of the family who are not of this world anymore. And so in Japan, that means a lot of people go home. They go home to their place of origin. So often they'll go to their grandparents' house or relatives. And so that means in Japan, people don't have a lot of time to be on holidays. So during the Obon period, people spend a lot of time on the road actually to get to their home place. And it's a word called Furusato. Furusato is an old place, basically. And so it's where people go back to see their ancestors, go visit graveyards, and also celebrate. So Obon is celebrated with dances that are actually different depending on the region. So we have the scary horror films of modern day Japan where people go to the movies to get goosebumps so they can cool off. But then there's also a little bit later in the month this traditional observing of the Obon festival. And so people have also lighting lanterns and preparing offerings and food for the deceased and the spirits. And so it's actually quite a beautiful and, need I say, loving period of the year. So I've been living outside of Japan most of my life. However, the fact that I was born there and I carry some of the culture with me, and in addition to living in Brittany and really observing the seasons here for the last 12 years, I'm often thinking and reflecting about the different ways cultures mark the passage of the seasons. And so I find it really interesting. And another thing is when you live outside of the country of your birth, or if you're from many different cultures, this idea of home and the word that I said, Furusato, where I'm from, your sort of homeland or your old place or the place of your ancestors is often something that can be ambivalent or just, yeah, it's maybe unclear for people that have moved about a lot of their life. And so, especially being an expatriated person, in any case, I'm carrying around different songs, different memories of different countries, and without having actually lived there for the last number of years. And so often, as with many expatriated people, we have memories and ideas about the country that we came from that maybe no longer exist. And so where is home? Where is home? And I feel like home is in your heart, and is kind of in these inner landscapes that we create as we live in our memories, in our imagination. And so I guess this is where I tie back to the idea of dreaming, a dreaming that is kind of half not awake, it's not asleep, it's maybe not real, maybe partly imaginary, it's maybe not completely in the past either. And so it's got this dreaming is kind of this inner landscape, which I find really appropriate for summertime. As I said in last month's segment, this liminal space between waking and sleeping encompasses all of these different worlds. So maybe I would like to ask you, where is home for you in your heart of hearts? Where do you feel like you belong? It may not be in one place. And I've sometimes had people ask me, well, what's your favorite country? And I don't have a favorite country. For me, countries are like people. You have relationships with them. They are friends. They're all different, but I couldn't choose between my friends. So I kind of see countries like that as well. It's a relationship that we have with a place or a culture. And so, yeah, I'd like to ask you what your thoughts are about your home place, Furusato, your sense of belonging or not belonging, and where are the places in your heart that are dear to you. And on that note, wishing you a lovely month of August. I hope you stay cool and safe. And I'll say à bientôt!